Hello and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who, after just 3 months after injuring his Achilles, is able to return to podcasting. Kyle, how are you doing?
Doing good. Transformative surgery, ready to go. Rewriting trends here. Let's do it.
Yes. It's incredible stuff. What worked by you, Kyle? I don't even use my Achilles when I podcast.
You know what? That's what separates the good from the greats. And
yeah, it's the great stuff. Kyle, how are you doing? Post Thanksgiving hangover?
No, I'm feeling pretty good. I went to a basketball game last night, and it was the end of the in-season tournament, so there was a lot of excitement there. Kind of gearing up for this back half of the season. It's not the official midway point, but doesn't the Thanksgiving kind of feel like the unofficial midway point of the NFL season?
Yeah, there's always that expression of like the season starts after Thanksgiving, and it's kind of true. It's like, yeah, we know who these teams are now fully, and now I don't know, because it's really kind of the 2/3 point, but it's like every game matters from here on out. Well, not every game. Certain games certainly don't matter, but like if you're a contending team, these games are the ones that really matter. It's exciting times.
Yeah, definitely exciting time. Is there any team we don't know yet?
Maybe the Steelers potentially. The Broncos are another. I think still a bit of a wild card.
Yeah, I think I
guess the Cardinals.
Yeah,
not a Kyler's there.
I think we're good.
Okay, yeah, I mean, sure. The Vikings are a team.
Yeah, they're a team, and did not do themselves any favors Monday night. So you want to jump right into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. Kyle, that's what you call setting you up for a transition. I mean, we're on another level here.
Yeah, we are in our mid-season form. This is the best of the best right here. So appreciate greatness while you can. You're welcome.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Speaking of greatness, we got to see Fields versus Josh Dobbs in this one. That's not a great transition, but we're doing our best here. Is it over for Josh Dobbs mania?
Yeah, I think the Pastronaut became the challenger on Monday. That kind of a grim joke, but it's okay. That was rough. Obviously they said, I think after this game that they're going to evaluate the quarterback position, which I don't know, maybe do they turn to Jaren Hall at this point? That seems bizarre, but the Vikings still technically, they're not out of it. They still have a shot, but it's like for all those, we praise them for those wins. This was kind of a big loss, and they got to hold off a couple teams here, and they got to get some wins down the stretch. And it's been back-to-back not very good performances, I felt like.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the main thing we were talking about the Vikings was that, well, like their schedule is, easy. These are 2 winnable games. I'm not saying Denver's been a solid team, but that was still a game they had until the end there. And then this game was a game that they nearly had. Even Fields fumbles like 3 minutes left that they're still not able to ice it. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It wasn't a terrible idea to go with Dobbs because it was a very low price point to try and make something happen, but it's not, I don't know. Dobbs is fun, but it's just this team isn't doing a lot. And quite frankly, I'd much rather see LA or Green Bay in the playoffs at this point than Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer because, like, I don't want to, like, write this team off because they still could make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, any interest I had in this team kind of just waned when Justin Jefferson and then Kirk Cousins got hurt. Yeah. And I don't think that's, like, a controversial thing to say. Like we basically, like, we're done talking about the Bengals basically this year because Joe Burrow's out. Like, we're just fully expecting the Bengals to not be involved in the conversation the rest of the season with Joe Burrow out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I kind of feel the same way about this team. If they had Cousins and Jefferson, I'm interested, but they don't have those guys, and those are their best 2 offensive players.
In fairness, Jefferson could come back soon, so I guess that's kind of the one thing you hope for, and maybe that changes things because they're in it record wise, but I don't know how I view this team. The Bears, it's kind of funny that Justin Fields, I feel like, is still like doing enough to give you, like, there are still Justin Fields believers out there. I mean, if you had the first overall pick, I think you have to go with a new quarterback. But if you hate all the quarterbacks in this draft class, I guess he's not I think Fields is shown to be a top 32 quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's so much wrong with this offense. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
they were so petrified of this Brian Flores blitz that like they didn't throw the ball downfield. Like, how do I evaluate a game where they threw like two passes beyond the line of scrimmage? It felt like they did not throw the ball down the field at all. And I get it because, like I said, the blitz was coming, but I think part of it is they also don't trust Fields.
Yeah.
So, that was rough at times, but like I don't know, like there's still those moments of awesomeness, but he also scored no touchdowns in this game and turned the ball over multiple times,
Yeah.
including one that should have been the end of the game.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Joe with the super chat missed you guys last week on the subject of last week. What is Belichick's record facing rookie quarterbacks? Shown our GM almost called him Danny DeVito in the presser. That would have been great if that happened. Yeah, but Kyle, do you know Belichick's record facing rookie quarterbacks?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'm assuming it's going to be good.
Yeah, but one less though now.
Yeah, one less indeed. Unbelievable.
Okay, well, before we get Kyle too upset already to start the show, this will make you cheer up, Kyle, as you have extended your lead, a 5-point lead. Again, like golf, you want the low score here. Great stuff by you, Kyle. Eventually missed one. You picked the Vikings, which was a fair pick, but other than that, great week by you.
Yeah, really would have liked them to close that game out, obviously, for that. But overall, pretty productive week. I felt like I was on the right side of everything and obviously just didn't get the result in the end. So we're buzzing right now. The boys are up 5. Let's close this season out strong.
Joe says, yay, Team Kyle, let's go. How dare you, Joe? I do have to say, though, in the comments of our last show, I made a joke about how no one cares about our picks. Someone said, we do care, and also Jackson step it up. So there is at least one Team Jackson person out there.
There's not a lot of you, that's for sure.
No, yeah, it's definitely Team Kyle is that it's sweeping the nation. It's very much like I don't know. I'm like Florida, one of those like weird schools, like I don't know, like University of Miami, what Idaho, Iowa, what is it? There's like Ohio. That's
Ohio.
it. They're all the same. I'm and like you're like Ohio State, right?
Yeah, I guess. But that would mean I have
a lot.
that would mean I also have a lot of haters too, which isn't the case.
That's true. Yeah. Raiders fans, but that's it.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of Raiders fans, so that's probably the only one.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Only 13 games. So knowing us, this will still be probably an hour and a half show, but hopefully we'll get through it. I'm giving you a game, and I'm not messing around. No, none of these weird, odd games. Let's start off the show with the one we're all here to talk about. 49ers, 3-point favorites against the Philadelphia Eagles. Kyle, where are you going?
Good pick. I actually had this as my second game, but you could definitely argue this as the most competitive game of the week. There's a lot of variables at play here. The whole added impact of like the 49ers losing to this team last season, like that probably doesn't matter, but it matters a little bit. I think that they lost to this team in the playoffs. They're probably going to bring that extra energy in this game. The 49ers are kind of buzzing right now, but the Eagles are also like this weird team where, maybe they're just too good and we're not giving the credit that it is that they keep winning these games. But it's like, it's like watching a boxer try and just, outpoint the other guy. It's like late career Floyd Mayweather, where he's still winning all these fights, but he's just going for points. He's not going for a knockout right now. That's what the Eagles feel like right now. So there's a lot of things going here at play. I'm going to lean with the Eagles, though. I know that there are some concerns here in this matchup, but I do like their outside receivers against San Francisco's secondary, and I like this defensive line against San Francisco's offensive line. I think those are the two matchups that the Eagles have a distinct advantage, and I think that's where they win this game.
Yeah, I also picked the Eagles. I am a little surprised that the Niners are favorites on the road and 3-point favorites too. So it's not even like a little bit here. I mean that matters. It's weird with the Eagles, right? You brought up kind of we always feel a little weird about them, but you think about what they've done. They had tied for the best record last year, went to the Super Bowl and lost on the final play, and then have the best record in football this year by 2 games. And we're still like, not putting them as favorites at home. Again, I get it. There's more to a team than record. And I think this game could go either way, obviously. But I don't know. this feels like kind of similar to how I felt going into that NFC Championship game where there were similar personnel, some differences. Obviously, Brock Purdy got hurt in that game, got off the rails because of that. But, I think the Eagles should be able to pass the ball downfield effectively in this one. I do think the Niners are going to try to run the ball a lot and get yards that way. I think it can work. I think this could be a very fascinating game, but I think I trust the Eagles a little bit more right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like they're 26-5 basically dating back to last season and in the playoffs. So like this team has gotten the results, whether we love it or not sometimes. There's just a few things at play here that I'm just confused, interested in. Obviously, they managed just fine without Hufanga in the secondary last week, but like this is I think a much stiffer test for not having debatably your best secondary player. So, how do they manage that situation? I know they still have Fred Warner in the middle, but it is going to all come down to those guys on the outside to me. How do those guys on the outside match up against AJ Brown and Devontae Smith? That's the times where Philadelphia has looked weak is because it's been a slower AJ Brown day. And if are they able to slow down AJ Brown and win this game? I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. We'll see.
Here's the other concerning thing for me for the Niners is defense currently 24th against the run, EPA-wise. So you can run the ball on the 49ers. And for the Eagles, that's what they're going to try and do. They're going to try and get some sort of run game going. And I think it can be effective here. So I do think the Eagles, I think I trust their offense a little bit more right now. Or I trust the matchup a little bit more right now for them. And I do feel like, there's always that turnover battle factor. I think I trust the Eagles to win the turnover battle. I think there's a higher percentage chance of that happening than the other way around.
Yeah, I would agree with all that. That being said, this 49ers team is so explosive. A healthy Brock Purdy, I think, makes a huge difference. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, they're going to be in a position to win this game, I think, too. I think it is close.
Yeah, and they have MVP Christian McCaffrey, so they got that.
They do have MVP Christian McCaffrey. Although he's behind Tyreek Hill on my ballot. So
okay, gotcha. Understood. Those are your only two guys.
I got Myles Garrett third.
Okay, got it. Okay, yeah.
I'm not going to pick a quarterback at all this year.
Okay, I like that. Well, still probably gets less criticism than my Josh Allen should win MVP take, but that's neither here nor there. Actually, people didn't seem to mind that. I thought I was going to get criticized left and right, and people were like, "Yeah, that seems all right."
I mean, if you're judging Josh Allen negatively, you're just looking at interceptions and saying that's the stat.
Yeah, I think so, but I thought people would be doing that.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Why don't we? Interesting stuff between those. Could go either way. Kyle, give me a game.
All right. This was my number one game of the week as far as what I think is going to be the closest game. It's tough for me to pick. Broncos at Texans.
Okay. Yeah, this is a good one as well. This was, high up on my list, although not the next one on my list. I'm going Houston. I agree. Denver's played well. I don't really know what to make of this Denver team. We were talking about which teams don't we know. I think they're a team I don't fully know. It's like their defense has been playing actively good lately, and then their offense have kind of cooled off a little bit. So I don't know exactly how I feel about this roster. This could decide who gets into the playoffs. These are two teams fighting for a playoff spot here. This matters a lot. I think Houston wins this one, though. I do kind of trust them a little bit more, but yeah, it's an interesting game.
Yeah, I do think it is an interesting game because, like you said, this Denver defense has all of a sudden become sort of world beaters. I mean, they played. It's not the best defense in football or anything in the last few weeks, but it's significantly better, and they've been able to slow down a lot of really good passing games. And I mean, this Texans pass game has been one of the best in the league. So how does this secondary, which has kind of found its legs here the last few weeks, match up against CJ Stroud in this passing game? That's the big thing. And, I do think that they might be able to slow him down a little, but I agree. What we've seen from the Broncos offense the last few weeks gives me a little bit of a cause for concern and why I'd probably lean Houston, just because I think they'll be able to, just score a little bit more despite the Broncos defense playing well.
Yeah. And I still feel like, so I was just curious. So I picked kind of a week at random from week 6 on. the Broncos defense. They're still middle of the pack in terms of drop back EPA. So like they still haven't been like great there. Have gotten really good at stopping the run and still good at stopping the pass as of late. It's just interesting. This is the good pick. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I do feel like this game could go either way, and I'm struggling to figure out, really the deciding factor. I think that probably my biggest deciding factor is that I do trust this. I just trust the Texans passing attack more than the Broncos passing attack right now.
Absolutely, and Russ has done a really good job of. Like, as I said,
I'm just sorry laughing at your comment in the chat. Everyone, make sure you watch live so you can also comment with Kyle as we're recording the show. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I completely agree with you that I think the Russell Wilson has done a really good job this season. Like I still am saying the same thing. It feels like every week. He's not worth the contract, but he's not playing badly either. Like he's played good enough to help this team win games. It's very much a game manager thing, but I think they're going to need a little more than the game manager to win this game against a team that I think is going to make the playoffs. So, I think those can win a lot of the games that they've had this year. I don't know if it's going to beat this team on the road.
True or false? The winner of this game is in the playoffs. I'm not saying the loser isn't necessarily, but the winner is.
I'll say yes. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I think if Denver can pull this off, I think they get in. And I think if Houston's, I'm already kind of assuming they're going to make it in, but this would go a long way.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, well, let's move on then. Why don't we? I'm going to give you a game, a little confused by the line, and maybe this is a lock candidate because of it, but part of me always feels like Vegas knows something I don't. Colts are 1 point favored over the Titans, and, Titans do find a way in certain games. They haven't lately, but, at Tennessee, where are you going here, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm not going to lock it just because it's the Titans who still at times can be a pain in the butt, and it's a divisional game. I feel like that still just means a little bit of something, especially in this division. So I am going to pick the Colts because I just think they're a better team, like just flat out better across the board. And I do feel like that matters. Breaking news. But yeah, I just think, divisional game, I think Tennessee can still, bring some pain to teams. They're still not an easy team to play at times, especially when they want to play really physical. And, Derrick Henry is not Derrick Henry's fastball isn't what it used to be, but it's still a pretty darn good fastball, I think, too. That's someone who can cause teams problems. And, the Colts don't have Jonathan Taylor, I think, in this game is what I saw. So there's a few things at play here that lead me to say, I think the Colts still win, but, it's close enough that I'm, going to have some cause.
Yeah. These teams have played each other before. That was a unique game. Derrick Henry only had 3.3 yards per carry on his 13 carries. Anthony Richardson played the first, half of that game or so. And then Gardner Minshew came in relief. And the, offense kind of looked the same as a whole. The offense hasn't looked that different with Richardson and Minshew in. It's looked different, but it hasn't performed that different. Zach Moss ended up with 165 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. So, I'm assuming they're going to hope to try to recapture some of that magic. But, again, Colts won by 7. Was a game that kind of could have gone either way. I think that we could see something similar here. I don't know. Do the Colts, blitz the hell out of Will Levis, or do they not? We'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be play a big part. I mean, I think one of the reasons why they might not is because DeAndre Hopkins went off on them the last time, right? Like maybe they have a little bit of a reason not to, but I do think you have to put pressure on the young quarterback. So I do expect them to try and get after him, take some chances, take some risks, and maybe Hopkins gets him behind a couple times and makes some big plays. But, it's very hard to see ways past for Tennessee to win games right now because it's just not the same. Like they're not winning the turnover battle like they used to, which I felt like was just a big reason they were successful a lot of times, is they were just smarter and disciplined. And it just doesn't feel like they're that kind of the same, cut from that same cloth at times, I think.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think it comes down to like the Ryan Tannehill thing, right? They always had him, who was for the most part a good quarterback, who was would protect the football for them. Again, obviously there was that the Bengals playoff game and all that, but for the most part, would do a good job being a game manager quarterback. And then he wasn't that this year, and obviously Levis hasn't been that this year.
Yeah, and Levis
there's other factors, but
yeah, Levis has been fine, but expecting that much out of a rookie is not fair.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on. I'm gonna give you a game, Kyle. I'm gonna give you
Oh
Lions.
wait, hang on.
Oh, yep, my bad. You give me a game.
That's next on my list. So Lions
Okay,
Saints.
Lions Saints. Yeah. Again, it's hard. I got to do a podcast, have a conversation, and run the show at the same time. A lot going on here, Kyle.
It's okay. It's okay.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
we were almost in mid-season form. Now we're out of it.
Yeah, now we're off. My bad, my bad. I'm picking the Lions to beat the Saints, which is, good. Lions, I think, should be favored here. There is a couple games with, or there is a game with a tighter spread, but I feel more confident. The reason why I had this one next is because there is, I guess, the Lions are reeling a little bit here, right? I mean, they lost the game against the Packers, which we all thought they were going to win. They lost the game, or they beat the Bears, but that was a game we thought they would win by 1,000,000, and they barely beat the Chargers. So, it's been a couple weeks since they've put together a complete game. Now, I still think that I don't know if the Saints offense can get the points against this Lions defense that other teams have got, which is a big factor. And I also don't know if I'm relying on Jared Goff to turn the ball over as much as he has these past couple weeks. But can I see a scenario where the Saints, dial up some coverages that fool Jared Goff, win the turnover battle, and score enough points against a Lions defense that's struggling right now? Absolutely. There is upset potential, but I'm picking the Lions to win.
I agree. Lots of upset potential. And I like your logic there. I guess the big thing for me is when it comes to I agree, because the path is obviously the Saints defense can still be pretty good, and they could create turnovers in this game, as you mentioned. And then the big thing is I actually think the Saints. I'm not only think it can happen. I'm expecting the Saints to be able to move the ball in this game. It's whether they score points, because the problem is that even if you create a couple turnovers, you're not beating the Lions with field goals. And
Right.
that's been the Saints' entire season is field goals. Their field goal kicker is getting an incredible workout week after week. So yeah, I don't trust them to win games. I don't trust them to win games against great offenses like this, because they have to score touchdowns, and they haven't scored touchdowns this year. And that's my biggest problem with picking the Saints. And I agree.
Yeah, I mean, no better example than last week when they had 6 field goal attempts and no touchdowns. The Saints did. So, yeah, I think well said. And is this the game they can get some? Why can't they get something in the red zone going? You think Taysom Hill would be pretty good at being able to punch the ball in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just bizarre. I said it on Sunday. This is a team. The teams at the bottom of the red zone rankings usually are just bad offenses. I don't think this is a bad offense, but it's a horrible red zone team. It's a bottom 4 red zone team in the league. Hey, get out of there! My dog's trying to walk around. Get out. Yeah, I think it's a terrible red zone team, despite being what I think is a decent offense. It's just it's so bizarre.
Yeah. How do we feel about the Derek Carr thing now, 2/3 of the way through a season?
I think the problem is expectations more than what Derek Carr has done. He's been better than anything the Saints would have had this year, and he was better than anything the Saints had last year. But because we wanted to see a rejuvenated Derek Carr in a new scenario, in a new situation, it's it looks a lot different. That's why people are disappointed. He's still better than anything they had last year and anything else they were going to get.
Well, I don't know. I thought Andy Dalton was all right for them last year, but he's definitely been better. But I think the question is, have they kind of just stuck themselves in purgatory of now you're stuck with their, next year, if you wanted to cut him, you'd have to, you'd be 50 million in dead cap. So you're kind of stuck with him for at least another year. And then you would still be looking at giving him double-digit millions in dead cap after that. So, also, Kyle, people are mad you did not show the dog.
There she is.
Oh, then you I can try to take down the banner. There we go.
That's Luna. Luna, say hi to the audience.
Okay. Also, we had. Do we have internet issues again? Okay. Is this me or Kyle this time? Was it the dog? Did the dog cause the internet to go out? Did the dog maybe get annoyed?
There we go.
We're back. All right. I was worried for a second.
The internet.
Okay, yeah, dog broke the internet. Also, we had someone say that I'm sorry. Oh, wrong comment. Sorry, I'm late. Kyle robbing a bank after the show. Yeah, Kyle is robbing a bank after the show, and he's doing that by podcasting with the hat on that he's going to then pull over his face later on.
Yeah, that's always a good idea. Listen, it's a little chilly out. I don't know what you guys want from me.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Um,
it's cold here in Florida.
yeah, what's the temperature?
Well, yesterday it got into it was in the 50s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we most mornings now it's in like the 40s and 30s, so it's interesting. Um, I guess, getting back on the road here.
Mhm.
Um, what is do you associate all the red zone offensive issues to Derek Carr?
I think an element of it has to just be like luck, right? Like that always has to be a factor. I think probably part of it is a Derek Carr thing. Like that seems a reasonable theory to have. I don't remember him being like awful in the red zone with the Raiders, so I don't know if it's like it might just be a combination. It's probably a combination of things, but yeah, it's probably Carr and then luck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably fair. I don't know. It's so bizarre though. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad offense. It's just they can't score. So
Yeah, Key ran in the chat says currently -1 in Scotland. Get your hat off, son. No, he can still wear his hat. It's cold for him. Yeah, no, I mean we live in warmer areas. It's not going to be as cold for us. Like I'm sorry, all of the Canadians watching that are upset. I live here because of the temperature.
yeah, I do want to move to England. Maybe one day.
Okay, and yeah, we'd have to really work out the podcasting schedule.
I'll just adjust my hours for the podcast.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I think that's good. Any final thoughts on Lions Saints? We got off the rails, but I think we covered it before we got off the rails.
No, let's move on. My turn to give you a game, right? Or no, your turn
Oh
to
no!
give me a game.
Oh no!
Boy, here we go.
No, I'm giving you a game. I'll give you Browns Rams.
Okay, we're both circling the same game again this week. Yeah, Browns Rams. The quarterback situation in Cleveland is murky. So give me the Rams.
Yeah, I mean the Rams are the obvious pick here. I think that the hope for me giving this game to you is maybe some turnovers here by Matt Stafford, and can the Browns defense show up, and can the Browns offense just do enough here? I don't think so. I think that the Rams should be favored here. And for the Rams team trying to make the playoffs right now, who after that Vikings loss, they have a great chance of getting in, despite being 5-6 currently. But again, it's like they've broken our heart too many times this season. It's like go out and win this one, LA.
Yeah. I mean, if they really want to make a run at this thing, I feel like they kind of need this game. They need to get a little bit of momentum and build a little bit of a streak here. And I think that they should win this game. I agree with you. I mean, there's still the factor of like Myles Garrett's a game record, and we've seen him actually just flip games on his head on his own this season. So there's that factor. This defense could create some turnovers. Matt Stafford is not afraid to give up some turnovers too. So there's a couple things at play there, but yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to if the Rams take care of business, it's taking care of the ball, it's scoring when they have to, and it's getting stops against a subpar offense without a starting quarterback and best player.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, subpar. I mean, this is debate. One of the worst offenses in football right now. The Browns offense. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah, but it's also like it's kind of a mediocre offense when it has Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson. So,
right,
like it's I mean, I understand why it's bad. It's two of its better players.
But no, you're right. I mean, you're right in the sense of like they've been winning games of bad offense all year.
Yeah, they have. So it'll, there's still the opportunity they do it again. And I don't know. I can never bet on that though. How do you bet on the team that is fluky?
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, they don't deserve to be favored in this. The Rams are, and to be honest, I think I would take Rams -3.5.
Yeah, I think I would too.
All right. Well, you want to move on, or you have anything else to say about this
one? No, we're good. I think we covered all that.
Okay. I'm gonna just double check to make sure we don't have any issues. Kyle, it is time for you to give me a game.
All right, I'm giving you a game. That means I'm giving you Cardinals at Steelers.
Okay, Cardinals, Steelers. Yeah, we 100% both are going with the same lock, and it might just not get drafted. I think maybe that's what we're going to do with the game we both want to lock. Cardinals, Steelers. Yeah, I'm picking the Steelers to win. I get it. The Steelers have had some weird moments. Their offense has looked better, last week. It looked better last week. I know the point totals didn't show that, but it looked better. And you're hopeful they can do enough. I don't know. Could they put up 23 against Arizona? I think that's possible. And I think that might be enough here in this one. I'm interested in the sort of TJ Watt versus Kyler Murray thing. That could be fun. This is a Super Bowl rematch of back with Kurt Warner versus Ben Roethlisberger. So interesting. I don't know. Interesting sort of stuff there. Also overlap with the super chat. This is overlap. Let's get Kyle's lock of the week so I can take the opposite side for maximum pain. Wow, overlap fading you, Kyle.
Wow. How dare you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm on fire. I'm up 5 points now.
Yeah, man, that might be not a smart idea.
Yeah. Don't want to bet against it's house money right now, baby.
Yeah, I think so. Kyle, what do you think about this Cardinals-Steelers game?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the few teams that the Steelers are more talented than on offense.
Right.
Obviously, I feel like besides quarterback, but, I think what we saw out of the Steelers offense the last week, some of the, and having the talent gap here. And I think, just in general, we've talked a lot about this Cardinals secondary is not very good. And George Pickens should be able to have some big game in this one. So, yeah, I'll take the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals, they just don't have a lot. I guess the one thing you say is, like, the Steelers, they're known for – you kind of joked about how – because they had 3 games that seemingly were easy and 3 games that were seemingly tough on the schedule. You kind of joked about how they'll win the games that are tough and lose the games that are easy. Steelers have a tendency to, play down to their competition.
Yeah, they certainly do. So, yeah, I don't think this is an easy team to pick for again. So I agree with you, but – I just think they're better, and this defense should still be able. They actually have the horses to contain Kyler too, which I feel like is half the battle with theirs. Or I mean, honestly, it might be like 75% of the battle when it comes to playing Arizona. Is like if you can actually contain Kyler, it's a huge advantage because it's not like a bunch of guys are getting open. So, they have the guys that can actually contain him, which I feel like just goes a long way in this matchup.
Yeah, and I mean that's how the Cardinals win, right? Is if Kyler just goes off.
I think so. Like, this defense has cooled off enough to where I don't trust it against almost anybody. So I would agree with that.
The Cardinals defense, you mean?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was I going to ask?
You didn't say anything. I was just clarifying.
Oh, yeah. What was I going to ask you? I forgot what I was going to ask you. Oh, not going to ask you anything. Just a statement. Rematch of one of the most underrated Super Bowls of the century.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Is it underrated? I feel like it's pretty highly rated.
I don't know. It was one of the better ones. Probably.
Yeah, I think the issue was just like it didn't have like a lot of like those Patriots ones have like that like kind of history of like it was like a dynasty and it's like can you beat the like the Patriots beating the Seahawks had so much added stuff behind just the Super Bowl itself. The Cardinals versus Steelers was kind of just like a fun Super Bowl.
Yeah. Fitzgerald was awesome in that game. The Santonio Holmes catch. Wasn't there like a 99-yard pick six in that game too?
Yeah, that was James Harrison.
Yeah. James Harrison, that's it. Yeah. Crazy. What a time.
Yeah, well, that was a fun one. I was rooting for the Cardinals. I was upset. I remember.
I think just about everybody besides Pittsburgh fans.
Yeah.
Steeler Nation.
I think so. Yeah. But no, great Super Bowl. Let's move on. Why don't we? Unless you wanted to do another 45 minutes on Cardinals Steelers.
No, let's keep going.
Yeah, we can keep going, I think. All right, time for me to give you a game. I'm going to give you my team. Panthers, Buccaneers. Only 5.5-point favorites the Buccaneers are, against the 1-win Panthers. And I kind of, I don't know, 5.5 might be a bit much, if I'm being honest. Kyle, where are you going?
I don't think it's a bit much. I'm going Buccaneers lock, baby. I'm saying they're going to win by a touchdown. So give me the Bucs here. I don't trust this Panthers team. The Buccaneers defense has been, I feel like, kind of inconsistent for their standards this season. But at the same time, like, this feels like a matchup they should dominate. Like, I don't know. Like, as long as they have a couple healthy corners, I feel like they should dominate this game and get an easy W. So give me the Bucs.
Yeah, well, I mean, that matters a lot, right? Their defense is banged up, but the defense for Buccaneers hasn't been great this season, really. I know that we kind of view them as a defensive team, but like, it hasn't been spectacular. And, they're also not a great offense, so that hurts. I think there's upset potential here with Carolina. I do. Which if it is, I mean, that has to be the day you fire Todd Bowles if you're losing to the Panthers here. But I do think that there is potential of, I don't know. I guess it's just I could see the offense not having a spectacular day against Carolina here in this one. And I can see maybe there being some windows for Bryce Young to hit open guys. I agree. The Buccaneers should be able to win this one by a touchdown. Hey, if you want to win the NFC South, this is you should be winning this by 2 touchdowns realistically to feel good about it. But I think that this is a game that the Panthers look at and say, we can win this one.
I think you can look at it and say you can win, but I still think it's a long shot. Like I know they obviously had made the coaching change and did all that. That changes a lot of things. Maybe there's extra motivation, but like, I just don't see guys getting open. Like, I don't know, unless, I mean, what's the deal? So is Levante David, Jamel Dean, and Carlton Davis all going to be out?
I haven't heard any. I haven't been paying attention. I'm not sure if there's updates or not. You know me. I'm terrible with knowing who's playing and who isn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like those guys, I feel pretty confident in this game if I get one of those guys, and if I get 2 of those guys, even better. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think that this team can't get open. Like I think the Tampa Bay defense, like you said, hasn't been as good this year, but they've kind of feasted on the bad offenses, and this is very much a bad offense that they should be able to dominate.
Yeah, they did it with Will Levis, right? I can see Bryce Young having a frustrating game against Todd Bowles. I can definitely see that. But just like statistically, drop back EPA defensively for Tampa Bay, they're 27th in football. Like they're just above the top 5 at this point. They're below teams like the Chargers and like the Bears. I mean, this is it's not a good it's not been a good, and part of that has been injuries, but it hasn't been a good defense this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's been weird. It's been really weird. It's been a frustrating Buccaneer season, I can imagine, as a fan. So, we're obviously going to see a lot of changes this offseason, but I think how the season ends will define exactly what this team looks like next season.
Yeah. Well, one of the rare scenarios where I'm rooting for you to be right about a lock. We'll see how this goes. Why don't we move on, Kyle?
Do you wish they blew it up this offseason?
I get what I did. No, I think it was fine. I think it was fine because we knew the NFC South was going to stink. It was probably the right idea to we can blow it up because at the end of the day, they were going to have no cap space this year anyway. Maybe because again, try to get a good quarterback this year, all that stuff. But I'm fine with saying, hey, this division's going to stink. Let's try and get into the playoffs, and who knows, anything can happen.
Yeah, maybe. It's just interesting. Like, I don't know. I felt like there was a couple different directions they go in. I just would have been interested to see what, how far they were, if they were entertaining the idea and how far they would have been willing to go. Like, would Evans and Godwin have been on block? Would Vita Vea have been on the block? I mean, I don't know. It felt like there was an opportunity there to kind of reset it, though. Yeah,
maybe. Although the flip side is like, now if you can get a quarterback, you still have a pretty decent team around that quarterback. Whereas if you blew it up, it'd be tough, but you have to get the quarterback. That's the dilemma, right? Is only bad teams get quarterbacks, but then if you're a bad team, then you can't help out your quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. So, it is an interesting scenario, but I mean, I don't know. This Panthers team stinks, man.
Yeah,
like
they're bad.
It would be alarming if they lost this game.
Yeah, no, it would be. I think that an alarming game is in the cards here.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Okay, yeah. Somehow the Panthers beat the Texans. What a weird game football is. Okay, Kyle, give me a game.
All right. All right. I know where you're going here. You're locking up against Tim Boyle 2 weeks in a row. So Falcons at Jets.
I'm locking up the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Tim Boyle-led Jets. And as long as Tim Boyle is the quarterback of the Jets, I'm going to continue to be locking up whoever plays him. 2.5 points, Kyle. How is this 2.5 points?
I guess they're really scared of the turnover factor when it comes to Desmond Ridder against this Jets defense. That's the only thing that makes sense. Yeah. Or are they concerned about Aaron Rodgers playing this week? I mean, it could happen.
I don't think he's playing this week, but yeah, I do think I don't know if and if he is, again, I think people need to, because it's one of those things where it's announced that Rodgers coming back to practice, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, how did he do this? What's that?" There's like conspiracy theories about him like not actually being injured. Like, no, he's rushing back his injury. Like that's what he's doing. He's rushing back, and he's probably not going to play very well when he does come back in and play. Even if the Jets win out, I think they have a hard time making the playoffs just in general. I still don't know if they get in. It'd be 10-7, but I don't know if that gets you in because they don't have a lot of tiebreakers either. But I guess must win for the Jets and to beat a division leader here.
Yeah, division leader indeed. And, Atlanta obviously can be very frustrating. Desmond Ridder threw the ball away twice last week in his first start back after being benched. But they scored 24 points. They scored 10 in the fourth quarter. Bijan Robinson got going there in the second half of that game. Maybe that's the difference in this one. But, I mean, Atlanta is the better team. But Atlanta's the better team, but the Jets defense is the best unit of any of these groups, right?
Yeah, I think so. Although I think that the issue is their offense it's legitimate with Tim Boyle. It's the worst offense in football. It is. It's already a bad offense. Now you're adding in easily the worst starting quarterback right now. And it's not the Falcons defense is bad. Look at what Jesse Bates did to the Saints last week. Like it's not like Tim Boyle is some god at protecting the football.
Are you sure?
I think it's possible Desmond Ridder throws 3 interceptions and the Falcons still win the turnover battle.
That's probably fair. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. This was actually the game. This was the game. We were both going for this game. Mm-hmm. I obviously saw that it wasn't going to work out in my favor, so I had to make sure I got a good game to lock there. So this is a good pick.
Yeah, kind of Felice says defying history and medicine. Joe, name of starts. Yeah, that would be good. Could be worse.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Could it?
Probably. I guess so. I suppose so. But maybe not that much worse. I don't know. It was tough. I'll say this. I don't know. If you're starting Tim Boyle, have him throw more than 3 yards down the field. You're not going to win if you do that. Or don't have him throw it all, or run the ball. Do one of the two. Either run the ball or don't have him throw, or have him actually try to play football.
I would love to see a team just be unimpressed with their quarterback options after injuries and just go to an option offense for a week.
Yeah.
How hard would that be to implement, you think? Probably pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm. Probably. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Whatever. If the Falcons lose this, blow it up.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Somehow the Jets, the one team to beat the Eagles this season. Incredible stuff. All right. Time for me to give you a game, Kyle. I'm going a Sunday night game that all of a sudden this past week or so has gotten a lot more interesting. The Chiefs-Packers, it was a bold call by the NFL to make this a primetime game, given, what we thought the Packers might be this season. But I'm interested in this game. Chiefs 6-point favored in Green Bay. Where are you going?
Yeah, I agree with you on this one. This should be interesting. I am going to take the Chiefs. I do think they're a better team. Jordan Love has played a lot better the last couple of weeks, but this is a tough defense to go against. I don't know if he's going to have as much success in this one. And yeah, I think, the Chiefs still have Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, I got the Chiefs in this game, but obviously I think the Packers can definitely make this interesting if they play the way they have the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, the Chiefs haven't been as good this season. We keep saying it. They did seem to turn it around after going down 14-0 against the Raiders last week. So maybe that's some momentum here. But it's just I don't know. Chiefs haven't been as dominant this year. Packers are, hot at the right time. I kind of agree with you. I don't know if this is, I don't know how winnable of a game this is. Where are we at with Jordan Love at this point? Because he's playing good football now. Are we in on Jordan Love? Are we still need more information? I'm kind of need more information because of how inconsistent he's been over his career.
Yeah, I think he's warranted another year. I wouldn't give him a multi-year $40 million average annual salary contract over one good season. I mean, what kind of weird franchise would do that?
Yeah, no one would do that.
Yeah, I've never heard of a franchise giving a team guy that big of a contract after one really good season. If only there were a couple podcasters warning how bad of a deal that was. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Yeah, I think that he fully deserves another year at the helm. I think. I don't know how much more he's going to get beyond that, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. Been good lately, so that's interesting. Although you're right, this could get off the rails.
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Oh my god, the Packers play the Giants Monday Night Football next week. Why is this? Why is the NFL like this?
uh, just people thought the Giants were going to be good.
Why?
They didn't listen to us.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and the emergence of, someone says, Love needs a true wide receiver one. The emergence of Christian Watson this last week, that's the other exciting thing. If he can get open a couple times, maybe that's how you could pull off a victory.
Similar to Jordan Love, the highs of Christian Watson are incredibly impressive.
He's even more so. Yeah, he's even crazy.
We just need to see the highs a little bit more for Jordan Love Christian Love, both of them. Oh my gosh, Christian Watson is who I was speaking about though, because he's the games like last week are the reason why I said he was a first round receiver. I think he's incredibly impressive. He's incredibly athletic, and he's got all the talent to be, I think, an elite wide receiver in this league.
Yeah. Kieran says would like to hear more why Jackson thinks Green Bay will go 5-1. Like I said in the predictions vid, crazy take. I never said they would go 5-1. I said if I predict each game, I have them winning 5 of them, which is an important distinction because, just because I think that you should be favored in 5 specific games doesn't mean I think you're going to then win all those 5. But yeah, after Kansas City, they play the Giants, the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Vikings, and the Bears. I mean, they're going to be favored in all 5 of those games. So if you can pull off the upset here, just put them into playoffs right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And as Cody mentioned here, just talking on the Packers receivers too, like Jaden Reed is an interesting player too. There's still been flashes out of Romeo Doubs. Like did they botch the receiver position there for a few years? Absolutely. Have they addressed it a lot in the their draft process? Yes. Is it enough? I don't know yet. But I do think that it's a step in the right direction at least.
I wouldn't say a lot. I say that they've started doing I don't know. It's like when you're severely underpaid and then you get like a 3% raise. It's like, okay, well, it's something.
Yeah. But like if those guys pan out, maybe, then it's all of a sudden a good receiving core.
I'm just saying they still haven't spent the first round pick. They still haven't gone out and signed someone in free agency. Like they've spent day 2 picks on receivers now. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not like, it's not like you see, I wouldn't say that they've been addressing it a lot.
Yeah. That's fair. We'll see it. We'll see how it goes though. I mean, I like
they're not the Colts, so. Right? Like they've put some resources into it. Although even the Colts, I guess they are the Colts. They're the Colts.
Yeah. The Colts have put resources, so
yeah.
They're not the Patriots, that's for sure.
Yeah, there you go. That's the team we're looking for. Yeah, all right. Well, let's move on. Why don't we? Kyle, why don't you give me a game?
This is actually the second highest line of the week. I think it's a little bit disrespectful, but I also get it, so I'm not going to fight it too much. That being said, I'm going to go Seahawks at Cowboys here.
Yeah, not a bad choice. It's the Thursday night game, but an unusual Thursday night game because both teams have a full week because they played on Thanksgiving, which is always a fun way that the NFL likes to do that. Seattle's kind of reeling right now. Dallas is red hot. I mean, I think you have to pick Dallas, but I agree with you that there is maybe some potential here. Can this finally be a Jackson Smith and Jigba game? You hope so. But I mean, I could see another scenario where I don't know. It's interesting because Dallas has played so many bad teams. It's like I don't think Seattle's great, but they're at least a good team. And so this is not a huge test, but a mini test here for Dallas. And I am interested in seeing. I think I would take Seattle +9, but I still think I would take Dallas to win.
I think I agree with that too, because I don't know, the Giants, Panthers, and Commanders. This is clearly a step up in talent.
Yeah,
but I mean, we've also kind of been so unconvinced with Seattle, even when they were winning games. It's hard to say this is your first contender you played or something like that. I don't think it's that, but it is at least a more competitive team. And despite all the frustrations I felt like I've had with the Seattle offense at times, this still is an offense that I feel like could, score 30 on anybody at any given week. So maybe this is the week that they get something going, but Dallas is the better team, so they should win this one. They should handle it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Seattle's any slouch.
Yeah, I think what you hope here, if you're the Seahawks, because you need to find a way to beat one of these good teams that you're playing in the next few weeks. I think the hope in this one is maybe Dallas could be a little bit overconfident. They have been blowing the brakes off of everyone, and it's like, okay, listen, Brandon Cooks has looked good these past few weeks. How much of that is that Washington can't cover, and how much of that is Brandon Cooks has looked better? I don't know. Seattle can cover, so like this is I think we're gonna learn a lot more about Dallas after this one.
Yeah. How Seattle covers is going to be interesting though, because like I think Devin Witherspoon has been, checked the boxes as far as a rookie corner goes, but that second corner spot has been kind of unconvincing this year. And, this is a team that still like actively plays Jamal Adams in its secondary at times. So like, how are they going to the 49ers hit him downfield a few times in that game, and Dallas is all of a sudden when, it felt like it was very like just kind of cautious early on and kind of feeling itself out. They have just been this super explosive offense the last few weeks. How do you try and contain this Dallas offense if you're Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, I think and they don't always. I feel like they don't typically like have their corners, go from side to side too. So you can try to get some CeeDee Lamb on, Tariq Woolen, who I like Tariq Woolen. I don't think he's bad, but there's ways to get favorable matchups for Dallas.
Yeah, Seattle's still kind of archaic with I don't think they run it quite as much, but there is still some of that cover 3 philosophy in there. Dak has never been afraid of a good seam route. There are a few ways I think Dallas could kind of pick this defense apart.
Yeah, no, it should be interesting. I agree with giving me it here. I think there is upset potential, but let's move on. Why don't we? All right, time for me to give you a game. I'll give you your team, Chargers, Patriots. The Chargers been finding ways to lose to everybody. This would be quite the way to lose, though.
This would be quite the way to lose. I did think about locking this game, but I just can't bring myself to trust the Chargers enough. Even though they're going against a team with no quarterback, basically. So how could the pass defense be that bad? I'll take the Chargers to win, though. They're a better team. Pats have looked lifeless the last couple weeks. I mean, what has this team scored the last 2 weeks?
And it was 7 last week.
Yeah, so I mean they've scored 13 points in the last 2 games. That's not ideal.
No.
They've thrown for the last 2 weeks. Their starting quarterback has thrown for 170 yards and then 89 passing yards. That's not ideal. Ramondre Stevenson has gone going the last 3 weeks. I guess that's the one positive, but I'm not overly excited for that. Outside, there's not really a lot I can look at this offense and get excited for, except for him and Demario Douglas. So should be a Chargers win.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It's a rough spot. I guess here's what you hope if you're a Patriots fan who's rooting for your team to win. So you're the one person here. You hope for Bailey Zappi to kind of he has to start. You can't have Mac Jones start. He has to be the starter, and you hope that he comes in and just is able to look better, make the offense look better. This Chargers team has had bad defensive moments. And then, I don't know, maybe Quentin Johnson, 3 or 4 drop passes. So his usual amount, and you can win that way.
Yeah. Maybe the JC Jackson revenge game.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Is it revenge game if you're going to the team that paid you a bag of money to play poorly for them? I feel like it's more of a Chargers revenge game on JC Jackson. I feel like they have more reason for revenge here.
Keenan Allen's just going to go for like 250.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was I guess from what I heard during the like reporter portion of the practice, like it was all Bailey Zappi and Malik Cunningham.
Okay.
So I don't imagine Mac Jones is playing again. I mean, how much more do we need to see at this point? But yeah, I don't know. I think it's should be an easy Chargers win.
Joe says, gotta be honest, I never realized how bad Mac Jones was until last week. I'd go Chargers just because Herbert. Mac Jones, it was rough last week, Kyle.
It's just amazing to watch like what happened progressively over these last couple of years. Like, and we weren't even like hyping him as like a future like top 10 quarterback.
Right.
We were saying he looked really good his rookie year. You know? And we're probably, optimistically saying he could be a top 15 guy. at
Mm-hmm.
best.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh wait, he's not even that anymore. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but it's it is completely fallen off a cliff.
Yeah. Insane stuff. Chargers, I guess, still maybe could technically get into the playoffs if they win out. So can start with a win here. Let's move on. Why don't we, Kyle? So I believe there's an odd number of games this week, meaning that you give me a game, and then that means the other one will go undrafted. Where are you giving? What game are you giving me here?
I guess we'll go Bengals at Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
This Cincinnati defense is still good enough to make this a little bit interesting, but not optimistic about the performance here for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, the Jake Browning thing, I thought it looked fine, but it's like he still was a backup at the end of the day, coming in, playing a good defense in Jacksonville. Jacksonville coming off of a big win. There still is enough talent for Cincinnati that, like, I get why this isn't like an 100-point spread, but yeah, I mean, this is a game that Jacksonville, you want to be a real contender. This is the team you should blow out.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like you said, Jake Browning is very much a backup, but had some good moments in that game. We'll see. I just think the defense is going to be the one thing that can make this a little more interesting, but I'm not expecting that much. I guess does there need to be a Jacksonville conversation? Last couple of weeks, like we have kind of put them in this. I think they're below Miami and Kansas City, and who's the other team? Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, they're on a bye week, so they're out of my mind.
Right.
So they're below Kansas City, Miami, and Baltimore, but all of a sudden, it's like the last couple of weeks. I think the offenses look significantly better. They've looked a little more explosive. Are we willing to entertain the idea of now Jacksonville's in that top tier with those teams?
I mean, I'm willing to entertain it. It's weird where it's like all three of those teams had the same record, except for the Ravens, who have played one more game, and so they have one more win. It's just wild how that's all worked out. So I mean, it's fair. I still think. I mean, it's the Calvin Ridley thing. Calvin Ridley these past 2 weeks has looked much better, and I guess if he is, because we talked about one of the things I always bring up is if your receiving core is in the bottom 15, you don't go to the Super Bowl. Well, if Calvin Ridley's better, they're no longer in the bottom 15 there. And that does change things a little bit because they do have, Trevor Lawrence has been awesome. Their secondary has been awesome this year. I would say, though, Houston, that was definitely a big win, but I'm not taking much into the Titans victory. So, the narrative really popped up with them after they got crushed by the 49ers, which happens. That happened to Dallas as well, right? And we still view them as a contender. So, yeah, I mean, they're definitely a team that can be a real contender. I still feel like their ceiling, I don't know if it's as high as I would consider the other three top dogs in the AFC's ceiling.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. It's just interesting. I mean, they have a lot of good talent. Like you said, you mentioned Lawrence, you mentioned the secondary. I mean, another one too, like I mentioned Kyle Hamilton last week as like a shout out for Defensive Player of the Year. Like Josh Allen, I feel like should also be in that tier of like guys you have a conversation about, even if you don't pick them. Like, we talked about our concerns with this pass rush, and I mean he's just a one-man army out there. He had 12 pressures last week. The Texans ran like 58 plays and he had 12 pressures. So basically 1 every 5 plays. He was in CJ Stroud's phase. Like, yeah. I mean, that was an unreal game.
I mean, it's crazy when like his other two edge rushers are Trayvon Walker and Kayvon Chason. Like that's who he's doing it with. But Kyle, we can't put everyone in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation.
Well, you said there's like 7 additional guys. You'd say 10 to 12 guys. You'd put in the
I'm just you're throwing them off left and right.
I think you have your big 3. You have Watt, Garrett. You have Parsons, and then after that, you can have the conversation about Kyle Hamilton. You can have the conversation about Josh Allen. You can have the conversation about who else would be in that tier?
Christian Gonzalez.
Well, if he was healthy, maybe. Deron Bland. No.
I mean, you guys could. Why not? I mean, I know he's not the best player, but he's probably having. I mean, honestly, if he were to have like 2 more pick sixes, how many pick sixes do you need to win Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, I guess it's a good, fair question.
Yeah, I mean, like
he keeps getting it.
His value has probably been the best out of any defender this season.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's very much the Trevon Diggs conversation all over again, except he's returning all these for touchdowns too. So, I think that that is very much a conversation. I just don't think he's going to win the award.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm interested in seeing. So for one thing, so I was looking up the odds. So Garrett's at 1, Parsons is at 2. For some reason, they wrote Trent Jordan Watt instead of TJ Watt. So that's fun.
Hey man, want to make sure everybody knows who they're betting for.
Yeah, Deron Bland is 4th, Max Crosby 5th, Josh Allen is 7th.
Yeah, so I mean, if we're gonna have a conversation about 10 to 12 guys, I think all those guys deserve a shout.
Yeah, I do not see Kyle Hamilton anywhere on this list. Sorry, Kyle.
Well, that's just wrong.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I don't know. Trayvon Walker still hasn't stepped it up.
Set that up for you to hit the home run, but I mean, at least the other guy's really good.
I guess so. I suppose so. Yeah. Maybe it'd be nice if you had Aiden Hutchinson there. That could be. I mean, how great would this pass rush be if they had Aiden Hutchinson on the other side?
Very good.
Unbelievable. But at least you got a guy who runs a fast 40 time, I suppose. Kyle, final game to talk about. Dolphins taking on the Washington football team, also known as the Balls here, who, this game is not picked because we had an odd number, so this is undrafted. But I think we both are expecting the Dolphins to score, 50 in this one.
Yeah. Commanders are struggling.
Yeah.
Listen, obviously they've had some good moments this season and have competed in some games, but like at the same time, it's really hard to win a lot of games when you trade your best 2 players on defense. And the defense the last 3 weeks after trading those guys has not looked very good. So I don't think that's anything of a shocker. And, they can't take care of the ball. That was a big thing in the Giants one. All this stuff feels like it's a recipe for disaster for Miami.
Their defense, the Washington defense, is the worst EPA-wise in the league. It's worst. There's a team that gave up 70 this year, and Washington's is still worst in the league. It's just been a disaster. They can't cover at all, and now you're gonna have to try and cover Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. It's not happening. This was gonna be my other lock. If I wasn't able to get to the Jets one, because if you never gave it to me, I was gonna lock up this one.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah, I think that Dolphins should win by double digits again. So, pretty favorable schedule here for Miami, and just go out there and do what you have to do. Tua's got to take care of the ball, I feel like, in this game because, they ended up winning by double digits. But I got to say, there was a moment there where I was sweating for you a little bit with the double digit
there was.
lock.
Once the Hail Mary happened, though, I think it was that was kind of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't. There was. I don't know. No. I mean, so what do we do with this? I guess. How does Washington win this game? How do they find? Is it the two? Because there is still that Tua thing of like he turned the ball over a couple times. Tua's been very good this year, but like maybe if they can make a couple mistakes offensively, how many turnovers do the Dolphins need to commit to win this game? To lose this game?
If Washington wins this turnover battle by 3, they can get a couple stops in the red zone. Maybe that's how they win this game. Red zone defense and turnover are probably how you flip games on its head, and that's really all I can see happening.
If the Dolphins have less than 50% red zone touchdown percentage and they lose the turnover battle by 3, I still think I picked the Dolphins to win this.
That'd be an impressive win.
I don't know. I think I would still leave. Like, look, I mean, I don't know. Sam Howell's had his moments. If he can protect the football, there's some hope there. Jalen Ramsey's been awesome for this Dolphin team, so like there's that. I don't know. It's a one thing we haven't talked about at all. Javon Holland is all the way back. Like the Vic Fangio safeties. No one does it like him, right? Like Deshaun Elliott's like having a great year too. Like he's the best.
Yeah, I mean, this team has really started to turn the corner on defense. I thought they had a couple pretty questionable games early in the season, but they've really started to come on, and I mean, they have a really good defense now. I mean, it's no question that Vic Fangio has had his effect.
Yeah. So that's our show, Kyle. A nice, easy show here, with before we get to I believe there's 15 teams are playing, or if there's 15 games next week. There is a bye week. I think it's like the Cardinals and the Commanders or something like that. Both have byes, so I don't know why they got a super late byes in the season. But yeah, well, after this, we got a bunch of games to talk about from here on out.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff coming up here, and then obviously we're going to hit the home stretch of the season. So, expect a lot to happen over these next couple of weeks, and hopefully no injuries, and we can get ready for an exciting end of the year.
Yeah. Kyle, let them know we can find us on Twitter before we head out.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Grondin, and make sure to follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That is at On the Sideline JK.
Of course, you like audio only podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, search On the Sideline Podcast. Should be available there. We have a key ran in chat asking for a hockey corner. I don't know. Lightning lost back-to-back nights. That's unfortunate. Nikita Kucherov might win the MVP this year. That's my Lightning take. Kyle, your Bruins take.
They just had this whole thing about Jim Montgomery, like the best 100-game start for a head coach like ever, I think is what it was. He had like 79 wins in his first 100 games as a Bruins coach.
Okay.
And then they proceeded to lose like 3 straight. So we'll see. I'm still pretty confident in the team, but there is a lot of youth to this team. So wouldn't be surprised if they slow down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Who made the in-season tournament?
In-season tournament, we have the quarterfinals. I can pull it up here. I think it's on the 6th. No, it's not on the 6th.
Okay, I got it. The Magic didn't make it. That's a bummer.
No, they got kicked out right at the very end. Got beat out. So we have the Boston Celtics at the Indiana Pacers. That should be a fun game. We on Monday, December 4th. Then we have the New Orleans Pelicans at the Sacramento Kings. Also should be a fun game. Then it's Tuesday, December 5th. The New York Knicks at the Milwaukee Bucks, followed by the Phoenix Suns at the Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay, yeah, that's Tuesday, December 5th. I'll probably keep an eye on that. I meant to watch the games last night and I forgot. I even did. I don't know. I was curious because I live like 15 minutes away from the Magic Stadium, so I'm like, I'll get into it first. I should have gone to one of the in-season tournament games. I didn't think about it until too late, but I was like, I'll figure out. Okay, what did it have to do? And I felt like I was doing calculus, trying to figure out like all the different ways that we can get in and all this different. Too confusing for me, Kyle.
Yeah. Point differential is an interesting tiebreaker, and teams are having to follow. The tough thing is like basketball so high. Like in soccer, when they do this stuff, like goal differential is pretty easy to follow because it's like +1, -1 usually, something like that. When it comes to this, it's like, the Celtics have to win by 23 to advance, and it's like, okay, you gotta like follow it that way, and it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, no. But also it's like. There's still head-to-head tiebreakers before that too, so like that completely threw me off.
Yeah. It was fun. It was pretty interesting to see. I was pretty bummed for Orlando because they played so well in that Celtics game and they don't get to advance for it. But that's the way some of these tournaments work. Tournaments work sometimes. So the Celtics did what they had to do. They got through, and should be an awesome quarterfinals. And every one of these teams I think has an interesting storyline that will be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's all right. We have us Magic fans. We have more important business here. We're thinking NBA championship. We're not concerned if any in-season tournament.
Well, you have the new dynamic duo of the league, the Axis Powers.
Okay. It's cool.
Yeah. Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero.
I know about Paolo. He's the guy I'm picked up on. I gotta look. I'll get into the Magic a little bit. That could be fun.
Yeah. They're a very good team this year. They have this awesome defense. So I don't know if they're ready to compete this year, but like with that duo, they're going to be set for the next 5 or 6 years at least. So, they should be competitive.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Again, I don't know. Now that Harden's, in his last years, I got to find a new thing to root for.
Jokic.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, the reason why I liked Harden was because everyone hated on Harden, and I was like, oh, but I'm going to root for. I always like the players who I feel like get unfair criticism. So I like Mahomes too, because I feel like people freak out. Oh, he gets too much attention. So yeah, I don't know. I think he deserves the attention.
Watch Joel Embiid then.
Yeah, I guess I do like Joel Embiid, so I guess that checks out.
Just adopt the Sixers.
Yeah, I think I was considering adopting the Sixers, but I don't know. I can't Magic makes sense because I lived in Tampa for most of my life, and now I live again 15 minutes. I could ride a bike to the stadium if I wanted to.
Yeah, I mean they're really close. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the time to get in on the Magic for sure because I mean those guys are young, so it's going to be really exciting. I think these next 5 years, Joel Embiid could have the first ever 32-point, 11 rebounds, 6 assist season in NBA history.
Here's what I understand about basketball. It feels like people care so much about stats, but like in my brain, I feel like stats don't matter that much. Like it feels very like box score stats in football, right?
Yeah, I mean, basketball's like obviously, I guess if you put it on a spectrum, like football is probably like the least amount of like box score metric. I would say football and soccer, like the box score to me really doesn't matter. Although a lot of people really care about goals in soccer when it's like, okay, Chicharito had so many years. Never mind. It's a whole nother tangent I'm not going to get into at the end of this show. So anyway, so you have soccer with its box score and football where I don't think it really matters that much. And then baseball is the full other end where like, you can really tell an entire baseball game through the box score.
Right.
That's really it. And then I would say basketball is somewhere in the middle where I think the box score stats do matter, but I think people who don't watch basketball games lean too much in the box score stuff. Okay. And then there's people who watch too much basketball games that try and ignore the box score stuff too much. So There's probably a perfect marriage in the middle there.
Okay. Well, makes sense. The Timberwolves are first in the West. Oh, so probably them and Magic are going to be the. Is that what everyone's predicting to be the NBA Finals?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
No, not quite. But okay. That'd be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you to everybody for listening to all of this or watching. If you're watching on YouTube, we do appreciate it. Yeah, Kyle, ready to head up?
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
All right. Again, thanks. We appreciate it. Till next time. Have a good one.
Peace.